been feeling one day, but I'm okay.
You've been ill?
A little bit, yes.
You
Ugonjwa za
shall be well.
kujiletea.
Ni za kujiletea? Anyway, hata hiyo pole pia. Hi, Calvins.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm good. You?
Hi,
Hi,
I'm also good. I'm
Calvin.
also good.
I'm good. I've just had a busy day, but I'm settled now, ready for the class.
You've come with many questions. I hope today
Have you
questions are
called
thin.
them? Oh, sorry.
Yes, I have questions, and today you can extend the session because I've had my supper already.
Ati, you can extend the session because
I've already taken supper.
I saw you were to share something yesterday. Did you share?
Me,
Okay,
which
we
of the
had
many
tried to check
things?
that part for some time, a few weeks ago. So, because we now wanted to get access to it so that we're able to manage it from our side.
Rudi unatuongelesha.
So, I don't know what to do. Is there
Okay, yeah, Esther, it is about the NEC data. Remember, I said they did a pie chart and the percentages were not aligned.
And I forgot as soon as we left here. Let me check. So are we good? We start or we just give people a few more minutes?
Vi is having a problem joining the class. Maybe you can help us sort out that.
And Mohammed?
Who is CJ?
Calvin,
Vanda ametext kwa group.
hebu tafuta Mohammed, your friend. Ramadhani imeisha.
Ndio image nimetuma kwa group. You can check and see if you can see anything that does not look lovely.
I'm sure I can do better than that.
Now imagine that is a whole board, a whole body, and giving you such. Actually, there were more because even the backgrounds that they had, you would question who is doing this work. But now this one was very characteristic. The fact that you can see the 50% looks smaller than the 49%.
Yes.
So you're like, who is doing this work? So those are the things we don't want as data analyst.
But even so, does it mean that there's no one to review the work before it's
Right.
submitted?
Thank you. So apparently, of course, it's supposed to be reviewed ideally, but now because we are lazy most of the time, so you just do something last minute, push it, and it goes. At least the colors were coordinating the male and the female, because otherwise they would also have been neither here nor there. So, do we have questions from yesterday's class? We can start. maybe we can be able to share with the rest. Yesterday was very easy, so that one we might say we are good, but in case you notice anything as we go, be free to ask. If you're able to open your Excel, please do. The data set was sent yesterday, the employees data set. So we are going to still use it today at some point. In case I disappear again, kindly just inform me. If you have a
Esther, where
question,
was
just
it
like yesterday,
sent?
in the Google Classroom. Everything was sent into the Google Classroom.
There is a link for that in the WhatsApp group.
There are so many WhatsApp groups. Hata sijui sasa ilitumwa kwa gani.
I think the April one. April, iko kwa April, Calvin? Maybe you can confirm for us.
Yes.
I've seen it. Huh? Yes, I've seen it.
Okay, so everything is there, including the slides, the video for yesterday, at least everything is there as at now. So yeah, I think we can start.
Wait a minute. Go there, where?
I wait for you.
No, we can proceed, but I'm not so sure if I'm seeing whatever was sent.
What can you see? Maybe I can share the data
I'm
set.
only seeing my name, people's names. Shared with me. And
You've seen it? I've shared it.
yeah, let me check it out.
Okay. Okay.
I've reshared the link.
Okay. So just be sure after the class you will find even the slides for today in the same Google Class. So most things will be there. Even the assignment and such, most things will be in the Google Class. We'll send reminders also to the WhatsApp for anyone who might miss them, so we don't miss anything. So yeah, as we had said yesterday, today we are going to check on functions. They are very important. As you can see our beautiful image there, it has several function names. Maybe you have come across some, you have not come across others. Yeah, so I would like to know which looks familiar, which one have you worked with before? For the intermediates, they should be somewhere near VLOOKUP. Anyone willing to tell us a function they have used?
I've used sum and average.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, that is good. So I think that is basically everything we are going to do. We might not be able to do all of them today, especially the VLOOKUPs and such. Those ones, we might do them tomorrow so that we don't have an overload of all the functions in one. So yeah, but now we might also ask ourselves, what is the difference between a function and a formula? Because most of the time we'll hear people mention, I am using a formula. Oh, sorry, if I skip, these are our objectives for today. We are expanding our knowledge of Excel functions. So we are going to use logical, lookup, text function. There are so many, we will see. We'll also use some statistical, date, time. If time allows, we'll do referencing. So we have the relative, the absolute, and the mixed. Wherever we'll not be able to cover or which needs to be given more time, we'll still go through it tomorrow. So you can mention where you feel like we need to add time. But yeah, that is what we're covering today. So yeah, so we have both formulas and functions. So you'll hear most people saying, I am using this formula to calculate something. So a formula can become a custom thing that you're putting. Like you can see the first one, a sum. The first one is also sum. We are adding the values that we need. So for this, you have to continue typing and typing and typing whichever range that you want to do. But now, apart from that, we have some predefined ones in Excel that you're able to use. This is what we call functions. Like we had mentioned, you have something like sum, we have averages, we have multiplication, division, and such. All these, they become as functions. So they are predefined. So if someone asks you the difference for formulas, these are custom calculations. But for functions, these are predefined formulas. And most of them, they're there. Excel has over 400 functions. I also don't know all of them, but they're the most common ones that are used, and at times it depends with what you're doing. So you're able to continue seeing a new one every time that you move. So for this, we always start with an equal sign to differentiate between the rest of the data entry. Remember yesterday we said our numbers are right aligned and our text is left aligned. So whenever now we want to use a function or a formula, we use the equal sign. So these are some of the logical functions. We have the ifs, the and or, the not, and at times you have now the if error. So in case you divide a number with a 0, so instead, whichever error you want it to bring, it brings. We'll also go through the other different errors. You might notice a name error, a value error, a reference error. We'll go through those ones and see. So this is just the theoretic part, but you're going to do it practically. Some other text-based functions, we have these ones. The concatenation, there is the full word concatenation, which was used in the previous old versions of Excel. It has a few limitations, but it is still supported. So if you want to use concatenation, you can use. But now the newer version is concant. So this one is able to join cells, and then you can also use text join. There is also a text split, which you're able to split. If you want to extract something from your text, you can use either a left, right, mid, such and such. And then you have the len, which gives us the length of the characters we have. So after this, we are first going to open Excel. We do a few of these things before we come back. Then trim. Remember yesterday we mentioned that our text might have spaces, either before or after. And at times, this white space cannot be seen, especially the after. And in Excel, this one brings a lot of issues because you are trying to average something, you're trying to sum something, but you find the category you are using is being counted as a different one because you have a space after. So this is where we use trim. We also have another function called clean, which also does the same function. Especially the clean one, it cleans the unwritten ones. We have those characters that are not seen, but now it is able to see it. You know, with trim, you can see the extra spaces, but you have the clean function. And then you have substitutes, which replaces specific text or characters within a string. So yeah, so too much of the theory. Let me share. And I hear like it's starting to rain on my side. So in case my voice starts to break, please let me know. And I hope KPLC will not do nothing. So yeah, once you're in Excel, I'm just using an empty sheet, like we said yesterday. So yeah, before we get there, I can say something, especially let's say you're working with a data set in your organization or you want to work with something. It is always good to duplicate, remain with an original copy of your data. You might need to go refer something or check something. At times you might put a function that changes everything. So always make sure before you work with your data, you are able to duplicate it so that you remain with an original copy. So for this point, you can either choose to move or copy. So this one will do the same. So I can choose where do I want to move. If I am moving, remember yesterday I swapped just moving across like this, but this is also an option. I can choose to move it to the end or to each point. But now if I want to create a copy, I'll just check this box and say I want a copy of that data. So I'll have it here. So I'm able to say this is either now employees worksheet, working sheet, so that I know this is the one that I'm working with. And then after I'm done, I can have another copy now that says employees clean data, and that way and that way. So that you're able to retain your original data and you don't lose a lot of things. So yeah. So let me just use this empty one. Yesterday we said when you open a new Excel, this is how a sheet will look like, a new one. It will look like this. So if you want to see our formulas, you can see in one of these ribbons, we have a tab called formulas. So this one is able to give a bit of the formulas that we might need. So like we had mentioned from the slides, we had logical functions. You can see there are several here. We have the false, we have the ifs, the if error, and such. So you can see if I hover over, it is giving us a bit more information of that function. So if error, it tells us what does it do? It returns a value if error, if expression is an error, and the value of the expression itself otherwise. So you're able to understand what a function does. All of them are like that at whichever point. And let's say I didn't understand what it is meaning, I can just click on tell me more. It will take me to another window that now will explain everything about that function. So that is for logical. We can also see the auto sum. These are the basic ones that we usually use. The sum, the average, the max, the mean. So you're able to see all those functions as they are. For those in finance and such, we have others here, financial formulas and the functions that you can use. For text, there are also quite a number of them, you can see. So as long as you want to use something, you can just hover on it and see what does it say, what does it tell us to do, and such. We have the date functions and such. So let's say, for example, I don't know the formula that I want to use. I don't know. If I know the category it is in, it is very easy. I can just come to this category and choose. At times, I might not know the category my function is in. I'll just come to this point. The very first point, you have an insert function. So if I click the insert function, you will find this pop-up window will appear. And then I can just type on it and say something like sum. It says, this one is the best when you know the category you are in, but maybe I don't know the category, so I just search sum. You can see the sums, all the sums that we have appeared. So the one that is selected is the one that is in blue. It is telling us how it does. What does it do? It adds all the numbers in a range of cells. So I'm able to know, now this is what I need to do because I am summing, and then I can add. So because our sheet is empty, let us use our working sheet and try to use the sum. I hope we are still together. Can react with a thumbs up. So we have said at this point, I don't know the function that I want to use. I come at that point, I click on the sum. So click on OK. Then this one appears, and then it gives me a range, the first number to the last number. So my first, we'll use this salary one. This is my first one. And then I want to go all the way to the last number that we have. It might have a problem to do, but let's hope it will be okay. Yeah, so can see it has given us a total sum for whatever we are doing. So if I don't want to use now the function sum, I can also do the other formula is equals to, now I add all the way from F1. But now remember, for summing, it can't be the way I have put it at the moment. Let's see if it's going to work. You see what it is giving us? Per cell as we go down, per cell as we go down. And then you can notice I didn't write everything, so it did the autofill that we had mentioned yesterday. So if I wanted to work on it at this point, I would have gone F2 plus F3 plus F4 plus all the way. So you'll notice it takes a lot of time to do that. If you have a small data, you can be able to do that. But for large data sets, at times it becomes difficult to do that. And then remember yesterday, we also mentioned the status bar is able to give us something. You can see our sum. It is not very accurate from what we have. This one, the total sum is giving us to 620. This is million. 6 million and such. This other one is 6,216,000. So you can see there's a bit of discrepancy, but it can be able to tell you where you are. Are we near or far away and such? So yeah, that is the
I have
sum
a question.
function. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Question?
now you see the data set that sums up to, I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
the data set that you're dealing with sums up to 100. And
Okay.
okay, like I'm saying,
Yeah.
for example, in Excel, we can have data sets of up to 1 million, right?
Yeah.
And maybe when working, the best thing like everyone could wish for is saving on time.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, now I want to select a range of 1 up to 1 million. What is the
Mhm.
shortcut for that?
So
Yes,
if
because
you know
like
that is
even
yeah, go ahead.
even if I highlight and drag after,
Mm-hmm.
even if I highlight and drag, still it
Mm-hmm.
would
Yeah.
consume much time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would you advise for one to do in such cases?
So for most times, usually find you see now, like when I highlight like this on the status bar, I can have an idea of what my count is. You can see at the bottom, you have a count of 89. So if I have something like that, I already know, like roughly, I have this value around, these are the numbers that I have. You can be able to just put it here as F 1 million or F 1,000. If you know, that is where your cell is getting to. That's how.
Let's say for instance,
Yeah.
you want to count blank space on the entire data set.
Yeah.
Now you will select range, that is
Mhm.
1 up to the last one.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe you give me the way forward on such scenarios.
So for
Can
if
I
you want to
answer
count,
Calvin?
there's someone who is saying
Somebody
something.
wants
Yeah.
someone wants to answer
Yeah,
me.
okay, the easiest way to do it, Calvin's, you control shift and then the downward key. So it will take you down to the last digit.
Okay, thank you.
But for the blank ones, we'll get to the blank ones. We also have the formulas to calculate the blanks in a cell in your worksheet. For example, you said our data is at 100, but you can notice this monthly one had 89. So meaning you have some blank ones. How are we able to count the blank ones and such?
Okay.
Aye. Okay. So yeah, so for those, I think these ones we're able to use the averages. We try our control shift. We want to use this row, but it's giving me the entire, okay, it's still okay. It's giving the whole F. So yeah, that is our average. Maybe our average will still be the same at this point. Did we have an average? Yeah, so the average is correct, you can see. So at times this is called validation. So whatever you are still entering as you go, you're able to verify that the data that I'm entering is accurate or is okay. So after an average, we can do a max. A max will give us the highest number that we have. So you can either put the function directly, or the one, as we mentioned, you can use our insert function at this point. If you don't remember the syntax and such, at least this insert function usually helps. It helps for you even to understand what we are using, or the meaning, what does it do, at what point, and such, you're able to understand. So I think we are done with the auto sum. This one we're able to do and such. So we also have the count functions. So the same way we want to count, we count our same row. It's like we're working with one row. Oh, sorry, you see what I did? I forgot to put an equal, so it didn't count it as a function. So that's why even if I go select the other side, it's not considering it as a function. You can see you have the count. This counts the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. And then you have another count A, counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So for count, it will only count for numbers. I remember we had let's use this I. We had numbers, and we had others that were formatted as text, like this 18 is formatted as a text. So how will it count? So for count, it will not count 18. But for count A, it will count all the cells that are in column I, as long as it is not empty. And then you have the count blank. It will return empty for the range that we specify. Then you have the count ifs. This one will not cover today, but these are like the ifs. If it meets a given condition, you're able to use it. It will be able to count it. If it does not meet that condition, like count if our salary is above 80,000, so that one will count. If it's below that, it will not count it. So yeah, let's try the different ones. Count. Then you have count A, then count blank. Is equals to count. And then we have said you're using the I column. So we have 59 that are numbers. And then we have the count A. This will count all. We have 88 that are not blank. And then we have now the count blank. This will return for us anything that is blank in our range. Wow, interesting. So it has gone to the entire data set. So if we don't want to go to the entire data set, we can just limit it to our small data that we had, so that we get our blank ones are 13 in that range. Okay. I hope you're okay with those sum, averages, and such, and the counts.
What did you say is the difference between count and count A?
Count will count numbers. The reason I've used the column I is because we said we had some that are formatted as numbers. We said our numbers are usually right aligned, and then text will be left aligned. So for count, it will only count the numbers. Anything, either an integer, a float, and such. That is what count will count. For count A, it will count any cell that is not blank. Whether it has a text, whether it has what, that is what count A will count. And then for count blank, we return the blank ones. Okay.
So count A does not count blanks.
Yeah, it doesn't count blanks. As long as something has something, it will count. Let's say, for example, this one, we have an empty space. Let's see if it is going to change. You see it changed? It went to 89. Because now it counts. There is something in that cell. That cell is not empty. But for count, it will count numbers. Sawa sawa?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next option, usually we'll use this, the text functions. So for this one, most of the time, we usually use, especially we have a column here. It is raining, guys. So in case my voice starts going down, please inform me. It is raining on my side. So let's say we have these people who have two names, but we want to send something that just attaches either the first name or the last name. So these points of splitting is where now we can use those left and such. And at times when you have, let's say, a date like this, and I just want to pick the Feb, the Sep, and such, I can use that point. I want you to tell me something about this, whether it is going to work for odd, or you notice there is something that is not working. So if I want the ones on the left, I will just say I want left. Which point are we returning? It's our text B. And then you see it tells us the text and the number of characters that you want to return. So let's say the name Christina has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Christina has 9. So that is what we return. Will that work for everything or it will not work?
It will not
will not.
work. It will only.
Yeah.
Calvin endelea.
Just proceed. Ladies first.
Calvin's, please talk.
Okay, you're given an opportunity and you don't want. Okay, let me try. Let me try.
Yeah.
It will only pick name whose characters are only like some names have more characters than 9.
Yeah.
So it will not work for all.
Yeah. Yeah, so that might be a problem. And then when you have a lot of data, you're not able to go counting the way I'm counting and saying, let's do this, and such. So you see, if this one had 4, at times it might be hard to use, but I hope you have seen why we use left. There are times you just want, for example, for numbers, you just want either the code +254, +256, so you're able to do a left 3. So if you do a left 3, you get a 254, so you're able to get the code. And then maybe the last 3 digits have another meaning. If it's postal address, we have another meaning with that, so you can be able to do a left and such. But now for these ones, when we now want to do something like a name, it will mean now we'll have to do a combination of formulas. We might not be able to just use the left as it is, because it means we are going to cut some names at some point. So for example, if we want to do that, we can say something like, we want to do something like B2, which is our Christian, and then we add another function, find. So find does what? Find returns the starting point of one text string within another text string. And you can see it is very good. It is telling us that find is case sensitive. So if you write something that is uppercase and then whatever is in your text is lowercase, it will not identify it. It will assume it is not the same thing. So what are we finding in this? So there is one thing you can notice that is very common in our names, that is separating our names. We have a space. Between Christina and Lawson, we have a name, we have a space in between. So if you're able to find the space at that point in the same again, within which text? So within our B2 text again. With that, we'll be able to, and then we do a -1 because it will identify it will count the space at one point. So if we wanted to just pick the name, we'll just do a -1. And you can see it give us Christina. So if we want to pull it down to everyone, it will go pulling down to the end. Okay.
Please come again on that point for find. Like, what's the reason why we are doing that?
So as we said, our names have different length and such. And it might be hard to be able to pick count like every name. These are the number of characters that we have and search for each name. So with find, it will find something that you want it to find. For example, now our names are separated by a space. Let's say we had an email, we might use an at. We are finding an at in our same word. Once you identify that ad, so find will return a number. So what are we saying? You remember when we were using the first left, we were saying we want to do left, then the text, and then the number of characters that we want to return. So if we want 6 characters, it will return 6. So for find alone, it will also do the same. It will give us just a number. So let's just try find alone. We are finding a space. Did I put 2 spaces? In our cell B2. And then if you see anything in our parentheses, that is this one, the square braces, these square ones. It means it's optional. That one you can do without. So you can see it is telling us before we get to the space, we are doing 10 characters. Let's count. We had seen our name had 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 as the space. You see? So it's counting our 10 as a space. So if we go even to this other William, it will count the name, and then the space will also be counted in it. So that is the reason why in our name, we were doing a -1 to return up to the character just before the space. So it's still like this is left, and then we're returning 9 as we were counting, but now our function is counting for us. Is that answered now? Did we answer that one?
Yeah, we can proceed.
Okay. Someone to help me do the last name. How will we do the last name? Somebody help me do the last name. We have
We
our
can have
function there. Yeah.
we can have Mwende to try that.
Calvin. When day is it in supper?
So I try.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is equals to
Yeah.
left,
Left.
not left, sorry.
Right.
And then you open which the bracket has been opened.
Yeah.
And then there is you select the it's called what, the row, yeah.
The cell. The
Yeah,
cell
the
that we want. Yeah.
The cell, then comma, then find,
What text like, oh, you're finding a space.
yes, then you're finding the space, the opening and the closing, then comma, the cell again, which is B2.
Yeah.
And then we close the bracket. Then which I don't know if still -1 makes sense. I don't know.
Let's see if it makes sense. So you can see it picked even before. Yeah. So for the last name, we might need to tweak it just a little bit because maybe we'll not be able to subtract the last one. So for this one, what we'll do, we'll use another now function at this point called length. So we said length returns the number of characters. So we return the length of the entire word. So our B2. And then once we return our B2, we subtract the numbers that we want. I hope it makes sense.
Mm. But yeah, it
Pardon.
does.
So for the last one, we are just trying to remember the first one we just counted forward all the way to the space. So for this one, we are just finding the space. So we are counting the length of B2, the entire length, and then you subtract it from the number of characters that you find. So this find, remember it will return our first one if you remember. So this one will return our first one. This one is here. Let us put it again here. Give it an A. Where am I? And I did a find without an equals. I hope you're learning, don't be like me. So it is returning our 10, which is the first name. So what we are doing is finding the length, the entire length of the name. So our name is Christine, is B2. So our entire name has 16 characters. And then we subtract the ones from the first name up to the space. Our name had 9 characters, but now because of the space, it becomes 10. So when you do the 16 minus 10, we remain with 6, which will be our last values. Does it make sense now?
No, please pardon once again.
Okay. So this is the right part. It is whatever we are repeating. So we have said what we are doing. We want to find the right of the B2, but our find will start from the beginning. It is starting from Christina. So that is why when we do the find, see this one is the find, it gives us 10, which is the name Christina plus the extra space. But now because we want to find the remaining characters, we will use another function, the len, and we also have a length function. Use the len of the entire name. So the entire name, including the space, will come to 16 characters. So once we subtract the entire name from the first name, we remain with 6. So find will give us now the 6 on the last side. So that is why we have this function as right, and then it gives us 6. So it will count 6 on the end, from the end.
Okay,
Is
I
that
have
okay?
question.
Yeah.
On you see the way you've written, right? B2, then comma. So is there a criteria for determining the spaces between B2 and len? And
Yeah.
is or you just put like you just decide the space you need, or there's a
Oh,
space.
this space is here.
Yeah.
No.
Mm.
Excel is forgiving in that. No, that one didn't have any importance. I think you can also even do the same at this point. If I want to do now if I want to see now which am I using, the right. So I'm able to, it comes and it gives me an instruction, right? Returns a specified number of characters from the end of a text string. So something of the sort. Yeah, but the spaces, it's just because I was typing. I just corrected the formula that one of us had given us. So that is why it had a lot of extra spaces, but it was not anything important.
Okay.
Yeah. So if autofill is working at this point, I don't know, mine usually refuses to work, but at this point, if you place it here, it's supposed to give you an opportunity to, it has done today. Wonderful. So it autofills everything to the end. So even if I did just the first cell, it will autofill everything. And then you'll notice something interesting. We have someone like this, Dr. Brad. This one is counted as 3 names because you have a space after doctor and a space after Gardner. So you'll notice doctor is called as the first name, then Brad Gardner is called as the second name. So that will be assignment. How do you handle 3 names when someone has 3 names? Okay. You can just check on that and see. So we've been able to use, we have used left, we've used write, we've used len, we have used find. So you see how now the functions come applying slowly, slowly. You go picking as you go. Okay, now we combine our text again. We said we have concat. So now you have been given your data as separate names and you want to combine them. For example, we don't have an email. Now, these are our students. Oh, they're employees. These are employees in our company. And our company has our own email. So we want to give them emails. How are we supposed to give them? Most of the time you'll find we'll use the name as it is. Sorry, I think let me just write it so that we can just see. I know I can just copy it, but let me just write it. So I can still be able to drag it back up and it will still work. Yeah, so if I want to combine my names, I'll just come here again and combine names. So I'll come say equals concat. You can see have the other one, concatenate. So yeah. What are we concating? That one. And this one. Let's see how that one will work. You see what it did? Did we notice something in the concat? Madam, are we here?
Yeah, it returns the names as one.
Yeah, but
Yes.
but now, pardon?
No, I'm done.
But now it doesn't give the space. It
Yes, it
joins.
does not give the space.
So we want to
To add a space.
separate the two.
Yes, we know we want it to go back like the first one. Christina with a space and Lawson.
You want a space.
So all these can be able to be done. We can either use now the concat as we are still using it, or we can also do even a formula the same way we were doing. So a formula here, and then we have and we have a space, and then you have another and then the second name. I think I didn't put a space again, like always. So you can see that one also gave us the same. Then you also now have the other concatenate or concat. And we also have text. If you remember, we also had text split, text join. So here is our text join. It tells us what does it do? It concatenates a list or range of text string using a delimiter. So you use it. It tells us what delimiter are we using. Let's say we just want to be an email, a dot. This one, for ignore empty, you can either leave it, it's optional, but it tells you if it goes and finds a name that is empty, what is it going to return? So it's either a true or a false. So the default is true. So it will ignore empty cells. So if you leave it like that, it will always ignore empty cells. And then what text are we joining? It was O2, if I'm not wrong. Did I write O2 or did I write 02? And then we had the P2. So you see, it gave us the name with that delimiter now with dots. So we can also do the same again with our concat. So it tells us the same. It concatenates a list or range of text string. So what are we concatenating again? Our two names. And such. But this one, where is the space for this one? This one is given without space. So we just check how it works. I don't know if I open the help, it will show on your side because I was just sharing one window. Is it sharing or it went? Sharing or it went?
Sharing.
You can see anything?
Yeah, we can't see anything.
Yeah, because I think I was just sharing a window. So if you click, even on your side, you click on the show more, it will take you now to the whole function. It shows you the entire function and what it does. But now from my little going there, it is telling me at this point, I could just have put a space like that. I have a space in between the two. You remember the other way, the other concatenation was doing the full concatenation. So you see, it also split the name. So all those three do the same role of combining text. Sawa. So we had concat, concatenate, we had the text join, and we also had the formula where you put down your words as you want. We are good?
Yes.
Any question up to there?
Okay, mine, I don't know. It's going. I just want you, or maybe you can click on them.
Mm-hmm.
Name Lawson. I just want to see something. I'm trying to do it on my side. It's telling me that
Okay.
I've had too many arguments.
For which formula are you using?
The right function. So I just want to see what am I not doing right.
I come back to right.
Yeah, you just double click and then I see what am I not doing right.
Okay. Let me just take a cup of water as you try see that. And if someone else has a question, feel free. If you're able to achieve it, let us know. If not, maybe you can share your screen. We see if we can help.
Yeah, it has worked. It has worked. I think I was missing out on the minus sign.
Okay. Okay. So I know it would be weird going finding an email looking like this. So at that point, now we can now either convert all the names to lowercase. So for this one, we can also add at the same point. Will they be too much if I do that? Okay, let me just use another.
Can you pick the first letter and the whole of the second name?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to add another function at this point, and then I saw there'll
Okay.
be so many. You see, like now come in and add in, because now we'll do that. We'll also do the one of picking the first one. No, which cell is this one in? Here. Now let's say now we want to do is equals to now a lower will turn our first name into a small case to lowercase for everything. So that is lower. If you want everything to go to upper, we still do upper. And then we do if it's a low 7 and such, it will return everything is uppercase. We also have proper case. So proper, what does proper do? It converts a text string to proper case. The first letter in each word to uppercase and all other letters to lowercase. So is this the same as title case? If I may ask. You don't have something that is able to do that at the moment, because all of them look to be. Oh, we have Williams. William might help us. So you can see William has been proper cased. Do we have a title also on this part? No, I don't have a title. Title is just in the home, these parts that we usually do, either the title and such. Yeah. So we have either now the lower, the upper, and the proper. So those ones are able to format our text in a particular way. So for most of the time when you're given data, at times you might find it might be case sensitive. So if a name is in lowercase, it will not be counted as the same with the rest. If it's a department, one department had a lowercase, the other had uppercase, it will be counted as a different department. So to avoid that, when you're now working on a data, you ensure you have made everything to be in a particular case. If you want to go all upper, but all upper now sounds it's like you're shouting. Or you do all lower, which might most people for names especially they feel like you're demeaning them. So for most time you'll either choose the proper case to be able to work on that. So yeah, so for this we can still do the same for all. We do now lower for everything.
Esther, what have you done?
Where
Whatever you're doing now, maybe I wasn't concentrating.
this was I just left the
Oh.
lower case. So I
Oh,
said
just
you can now just
okay.
autofill, and autofill is working when you people talk. When you're not talking, it refuses to autofill. Now see, it has autofill. And then now the same again for the other name, we can just do the lowercase. Yeah, my mouse, my tab is not working today again. So we do the same. So for all these functions, you can be able to either choose to work in one. So if I wanted to use this one to do everything, I can just add a lower at the front of left. So one thing you will notice how the Excel functions work, they work in out. So we'll start with the find, go to the left, then go to the proper as we go outside. At times it might not make a lot of difference because even if I decide to have it lower before working on it, but yeah, that is how they work. So at times you will notice we are working in outward. So the same way. Ndio. My village people are working. So yeah, I hope we are all at the same point. We're able to move. What did I do? Give me a minute, 1 minute. I'll be back. Thank you. I needed to take a glass of water. I have been talking for the last 1 hour. You?
Can we take a 5-minute break?
It's okay. That's okay. 5. Exactly
Mm.
5.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be back. Is 5 over or not yet? Just inform me when you're back. Are we back?
Yeah.
All right. So you can go ahead. So for this one, also the same way. It has autofilled. So we have now our two names in lowercase. So if we want now to do an email, we can just say something like is equals to the same. We had our, I don't know if it's going to work. Let's see if it's going to work. Yeah. So we had that option. We have used our concat. Now we have made an email. So all we have done is just using the two names as they were and then added at company. Maybe we can use our data breed. These are the name of our company. So remember, we can add the width of our cells as we go that way. And then the same way, you autofill. There's also another way of doing it. Now, this is another function called the substitute function. You can be able to use it. So with substitute, you see now we have done a lot
Go
of
back
work.
to the initial formula.
This one that we're using at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
Answer, okay, just tell me.
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. So you see how we've done a lot of work from splitting, getting the first name to getting the last name to bringing it to lowercase. Like for someone, it was good because it was learning, but in a company, when you're doing that, that is a lot of work. But now we can be able to do this. As we said, we can combine everything in one function. So the same way, coming back to the formulas, we can insert now a formula called a substitute. So substitute will replace something. Substitutes. So here. So substitute replaces an existing text with new text in a text string. So for example, you'll notice our text that we want, let's use our very original name as it was, is this one, our Christian Lawson. That is what you want to substitute. And then from this point, what do we want to substitute? We had the space. So we can choose our space. We want to substitute it with a comma, with a full stop, sorry. And then we're able to see how our names will appear. Did I select a cell? Oh, thank God. Yeah, so you see, it did substitute as it is, but now it left it at proper case, at proper case. So the same way we can come before the B2, we call it a lower. Remember we said now we are bringing two different functions together. So you can see now we have Christine Lawson as two different people. Like now, the way we wanted it at this point. Now it's just that we use a full stop. But if you don't want the full stop, you can also remove it and ensure it's just a combined name. And then now the same way again, we want to add our email. So you come here at the end and say at, where is our at? Yeah, I'm telling you, like you're able to see my keyboard, databreed.com. And then yeah, so we have achieved the same with just a few clicks. So we're able to get to the same point. So we have said what a substitute function does. It replaces an old text. So our old text had a space. So what we are substituting the space, what are we substituting it with? No space in between. This is the same as the same concat that you are using. So you are able to also use it. Again, we concat and then we get our data grid. Okay.
Maybe you repeat on from the concat, if you don't mind.
This current concat.
Yes, like the one like concat, and then you get the databreed.com.
Okay. So for this point, this is now not the official concat. Remember, we have the concat function, which we can still also use at this point. So we said we had now the formulas, which it's me who is typing it. So for the concat, when I am typing it as a formula, we use the and sign. So that when you have the and, it will understand that I need to add this extra text to whatever else that we are using in this point. So I just added at databreed.com. So I think that was the first one that we had started with. So the spaces had issues there. So if you remember the very first one at this point, we did the same. We had a concat function and then we added at databreed.com. So we can also do the same at this point. Either this way or we put now the concat. Is it okay when we now do the concat? Let's see if we can be able to put it here. You see? Still brought it again. Christian, such. So as we go, moving like that. Oh, what are we substituting with? Sorry. Would substitute a space with no space. So yeah, it's okay. So the same way we can use it as concat. We are good up to there. So we are just getting different functions to use different situation where you are in. So you also we also mentioned you have something like text split. Did we use text split? We just use text joint. So what does a text split do? It splits text into rows and columns using a delimiter. So the same way, we have the text, we have the delimiter for the column, for the row if you want to use, and then ignore. We said ignore empty is default true. And then do you want it to be match the entire case or something like that? So our text, which text do we want to split? Let's say that one. Our delimiter will be the at. So we are splitting at the at. So these others, you can leave them as they are. So you can see we got 2 cells. The text before the art and the text after the art. So databreed.com. So at times you might find in your emails, not everyone is databreed.com. We have people using Gmail, you have people using other different companies. So you can be able to get this extra part, the host and such. So you're able to know which people are having issues and such in such a manner. Is that okay? Any question?
Repeat the one for text split.
Text split. Okay.
And why are you splitting? Sorry. If you want to achieve what?
So for what I know, it depends with what you want to answer, whatever you want to answer. So remember, we also started with splitting our names. We had 2 names and we split our names to the first name and the second name and such. So for this one, let's say it's just an email that you want to split and you want to see what extension are these people using. So for example, you're doing fraud detection, and you want to see which is the most attempted fraud, which itango extension up at the end. Yeah. Who is their host? Is it an organization? Are people using Gmail? So that now, even if you are trying to make models and you want to give a feedback, you're able to say, out of 100 frauds that we had, 90% were using this particular extension. It's an XYZ extension. It's this extension. So you're able to identify such. So you can split for whatever reason that you want. Most of the time, you usually have a reason why you're using it. Sawa sawa. Before we finish on now the text, we are the text. Remember, we still have a lot. We have dates, time, we have lookup and references, we have all this to go through. But maybe today we might end at this point and then we pick from dates. Date is also another whole entire. So let's do trim. As you can see, I've just inserted another column just before. So most of the time, if I select this, it will insert before it. So if I wanted to insert after the status, I would just come at the sum point and then insert it. So you will see our text as it is. Like for this one, not all of them are starting at the end. So we have some that have extra spaces either before or after. So for that, we use a function called trim. That was just using this point of inserting. So we have a trim here. What does trim do? It removes all spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. So that is what our trim is going to do. What text do we want to trim? The K2. Okay, so you can see now our active where it was. It goes back to the end, all of them. So for most of the time, you will find once you're cleaning your data, you might want now to take it back to the original cell. So you'll just copy it again, come here, and then once you paste, remember to use the paste special. Don't use the paste, because once you use the paste, it's like you're using the reference from the original one that we used the function. So you can either choose to just paste as values only. So once you paste as values only, you can see it cleared, even the original one. And then we can delete the previous one. Then we are left with the other one. You've seen that? So let's say.
Esther, I've not seen what the difference is between this trim and the what was there previously.
You can see the original snippet, how it was. This, like, for example, the name terminated. We had some extra 2 spaces in front.
Okay.
Active had some extra 2 spaces in front. So, and then most of the time you can find we have spaces towards the end that are not seen and such. So that is what trim does. It just aligns everything together. At least this one we can see. You see the same way you're not able to see it. There are times when we have unwritten characters that you're not able to see them. So I still have some. So I hope you have seen why we are pasting as values. So if I paste the original, the normal paste, and did I delete everything now? It remains as it is. I want to insert just another column to use a different function. So this is trim. This one we use trim. And then we have another one called clean. I don't know whether you have ever done something on Word. There are those two big commas that people put that show spaces in your text. So for most time, you will find these spaces are not visible to your eyes. But if someone is working on that data, it will continue giving you wrong data. I remember there was a data set I was working on last year. I cleaned, and there were some values that were not becoming accurate. And I was wondering what is happening, because you're like, I've been cleaning it, I've been trimming it, and what, until I was like, let me just use this clean function and see what is happening. And then you'll find we have a lot of, and yeah, they are called non-printable characters from the text. They're not printed, but they are characters that are there. So it will help you entirely, even with our spaces. So if still left the spaces for this one, so it means like I need to combine the two to remove the trim and do the clean. So you can see the difference. Now it has cleared it as it's supposed to be. So at times you'll find you have to do a combination of the two, but I look for a data set that has the non-printable characters so that you will see the difference. I still hope I have that data set. We can work on it as our assignment over the weekend. So that is the difference between trim. Trim, we remove these spaces at the front and at the end. So when you go to tools like Tableau, I think they have L trim. We have right trim. So I don't know. I don't think this one has the L trims. This one is just the trim. So yeah, but basically that is it from there. So this one you can continue going, checking and seeing for the few that we have left, but we have gone through the very most important ones in that category. So I think the other one that you can be able to check, you can see maths and such. So we have the common ones, which being power, product, rand, that usually returns a random number. And then we also have round. We want to round to a specific digits. We have round down. So we bring it downwards. And then we want to round up. And so there are several also in that category of maths. So let me just share the slides where we were previously. Someone has a question, we can also be asking for now.
Yeah, maybe I didn't get the difference between cleaning and trimming.
Yeah,
What
so what exactly
purpose
the
do they
difference is
serve?
doing.
Yeah. Mm.
So for trimming, you have seen it removes the spaces before and after a word, but it leaves the single space between words. For clean, specifically, it removes the non-printable text. We have some non-printable characters that, yes, they'll be there, but they're not printed. So I'm trying to think of where Excel, or for example in Word, you will write some text and then you realize it's like your word has extra spaces in between, but even if you delete, you can't delete. And then there are those two big hyphens, they look like commas that you put and you're able to see. This is where we had these spaces that I was not seeing. That is where clean comes from. I will share a data set. I will look for it. Once I get it, I will share it before the week ends, where we are able to see where we had non-printable characters, and then you're able to see the difference between it. They look subtly more or less the same, but clean does the non-printable characters. This is what you can see with your eyes. But for trim, it is removing spaces before and after our text.
And Esther,
Yes.
I think I've just not understood the concat and the substitute function totally. Maybe you can explain again. I don't know. It was too fast for me to grasp.
No worries. That's why we say if you feel like we are going too fast, you tell us, we come slow. We go at your pace. No worries. So for concat, I explain theoretically, or we go back to the data set?
Yeah, we go back to the data set, especially that place for joining with the art data bit. That's what I want to see.
Okay.
Hey, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Oh, before now, while we go back to that,
Yeah.
I was wondering when you are typing like the formulas, how do you know where to use the quote unquote, the all these symbols you are using, like the comma, the brackets? I don't know whether my question is making sense. I hope it does.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe someone else has another way of remembering them. But I think now with time, once you're able to use some functions regularly, you're able to know how it works. But if you're not able to remember what to put where, we have this point, the insert function. If you do that, at least it gives you a UI that you can be able to use. So if it's, for example, the concat that I want to use now, I'll just come at this point and look for it. So it will give me what I need to do. So I'll be able to know what does it want me to do. It gives me concat, it concatenates a list, this text, and such. So I'm able just to know I need to concat this one. That is my first text. And then this, you can see it is continuing. So I can be able even to add a third text and such. So once I just say, okay, you see I can see how it is adding it. It is saying operations M average. It does not have a space in between any of them. So once I just write it, you see it gave me there. So then the function is here. So at this point, if I want to add something like a space between one of them, that is where now I come add the extra things. So the and becomes like universally the one to show that this one, I am joining it with everything else. You see, it's just like bring these ones, add these ones in between, and then we continue. And then I had a typo. What did I add again? Yeah, you can see I'm also having typos, so it will also keep correcting for me and such, something of the sort. So that is what I was trying to do at that point. Yeah, so most of the time, Excel will not allow you to do something wrong. It will keep giving you an error until you're able to achieve what you're able to do. But I think I can't put this at that point. I'll have to put it at the end. So these ones will just appear as it is. Then if I want to add something at the end, that is where I will come add and say, because you see now I was interfering with the format of the concat, the syntax. That one was a wrong thing that I was doing there. So if I want to add something, I'll say, and add for me 1, 2, 3 at the end of the string. Okay, this one. It's this thing here, I'm adding here every time. So you can see it added my 1, 2, 3. So you don't need to have this comma. I had put a comma there. So you see, actually, even as you go to Python and even programming languages, one big thing is being able to read your error messages. Once you're able to read your error messages, it helps you. So you can see it is helping me correct, but I'm also able to read and notice, oh, here I put a wrong thing, here I put this wrong. So most of the time you're able to learn as you go. And then we have the insert function. We have cheat sheets. The slides have some where you can be able to check and know how a syntax of a function is written. Sawa sawa.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, to the concat. Is this concat or the ones that had extra things? And I hope as I was explaining that one, you're able to see why we were adding it at what point.
The one that add extra things.
This one, at that point, the one that I'm sharing at the moment in the function bar.
Yes, that one.
Okay. So the same way that you have said, we want to add these two. We are combining the first cell and the second cell. And then apart from that, we want to bring this extra thing. So you can add whatever else you want. Like you see in the other one, I just said, put 1, 2, 3 at the end. So that is basically just it. You can just type whatever text at this point. But the main thing is, remember this one does not limit the number of things that I can add. I can say I want 3. We are concatenating W2, X2, S2, and such. You can see now it has put all the names as we put it. So even if I want to go to 10 cells, in a range of 10 cells, I can be able to put that. But now this extra text, because this will not be identified, it does. You see this one, it is recognizing this as a cell. This is also another cell. This is another cell. But this string of text, it does not recognize it. So I am putting it in quotation marks so that it knows I want you to put it as it is. Identify this as a string, put it as it is. So that is why we have it at that point. And that is exactly what we were doing for all the other cells. So this and shows like a join. So with this, do this function, and then at the end of this, add for me databreed.com. That is what it was doing. Is that answered?
Yes, it is.
That maybe you can review and see if it still doesn't make sense by tomorrow. You can just reach me out. Even during the day, we can go through it again. Okay.
I think I'll just do it in my end because I was trying to do the concat and then it was telling me the function is not due what existing. There were some 2 errors.
Errors. You see now again errors. There was someone else who had an error. Too few of functions. Too few of arguments. You are putting few arguments and such. But I think, yeah, you can share the error. You can screenshot the error, share it to the group we see, and then you can be able to help at that point.
Okay.
Any other question from that point? There was another question, the difference between substitute. I think substitute, there was someone who had asked about the difference between substitute and concat. Was there that? They asked of the question. They went.
You're not there.
They have gone. Okay, but they will be able to review it and see. And we can also check the difference between substitute and replace. We also have a replace function. We see what is the difference between those two.
Or but you've not talked about replace?
Yeah, I didn't talk about replace, but now that one we can be able to check and we can have it tomorrow as part of our discussion for tomorrow. That one I didn't mention it. I said we have like 400 functions. Yeah. Do we still have strength to continue, or we work on that for today and then we continue tomorrow?
Calvin's even wanted overtime, extra hours.
Who? This one?
We were talking about ending the class 20 minutes before time.
Me.
You are killing Calvin's dreams.
I am killing Calvin's dream. Oh yeah, Calvin's today. Well, Calvin's you have not cooked. Some of us we want to go cook. But yeah, if we have the strength to continue, we can continue. If not, we can work on those for tomorrow. Then we'll be able to pick it there. What is the consensus? What is the feeling? So I know this one we have already covered. This one we don't need to cover it tomorrow. The statistical functions, that one we have already covered. Yeah, so just go practice with them. We have the employees data set. Play around with it. Just see what you can put. Tomorrow we'll give something that we'll be able to work on alone and see how we are able to use these functions. And then we have this. We mentioned some of them around. So the absolute. Let me just mention the absolute. So for absolute, even if you have negative, it will return just the number as it is. So it clears any other thing in front. Whether it's negative, whether it's positive, it brings it back to the normal. Then you have the power, 2, power 3, and such. And then you have the square root as we go. So all these are functions that you use as you go. But as I said, we're able to mention it. We have attached a few sheets here, but you can be able to see most of these functions. I don't want to start these functions now. There are many. There are very many. And you might not be able to clear them in 20 minutes.
We can start on that tomorrow.
So we make sure
Maybe
we
you
have
can
gone.
leave it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can leave it at that point. We synthesize on the points, then
Okay.
we resume tomorrow.
And bring more questions tomorrow. Calvin, I'm
Yes.
still waiting for your questions. Where are they? They disappeared. And you're not Calvin.
No, I have many questions. Utatoka mbio. There are too
Zilete.
many.
Bring them. We have very many people here to help answer them.
I think that is the first thing I'll do before tomorrow's session. I'll shoot the questions. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
Then another thing we can do.
Yeah.
Is like because some of us are working, some are doing things. Maybe we send the videos on time, such that someone can get time to at least have a review.
Okay.
Before the next session. Yeah.
I think I will tell the team. That is beyond me, but I don't know if they're here today, but I will inform them.
Yes.
To share. I saw at the time it was shared today, but I will mention
If
it
possible,
is shared.
if possible, even immediately after the session. If possible.
Okay, I will alert. But the slides, be sure you will get them. So I edit and remove the ones for tomorrow so that we don't have many questions. But yeah, you will get everything. I will try. Let me inform them. We'll be able to get them. Sawa. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. People of let's hope we'll start at 7 tomorrow. Tomorrow might be the last class for the week.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not
we
tomorrow.
Have Thursday.
We have Thursday.
Thursday is your day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tomorrow might be our last class for the week. So I'll leave a project or just a data set that you're able to apply everything that we have learned so far. Yeah, and then we meet again Monday. I hope so. But I'll inform you about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night to Arsenal fans. All the best.
Kwani kuna game leo? Saa ngapi?
Saa 3:45.
Wacha nipike mbio niingie kwa game. Good night.
Good night.